Soda cans have some uses. If they are completely intact, not crushed, and have holes in them, you can actually cut the top off or just boil them clean and use them as something to hold your water container or to boil. If they're crushed up like this, you have a knife or a stone knife or any means to break it apart. You can take this and actually make cutting tools out of it. You can use the bases of them, or even use it as is to make a candle or some kind of oil lamp. You can make a ulu out of it, and even fishing hooks, different stuff like that, if you have the means of cutting it up. So I actually think I'm going to go ahead and clean up after people and make some tools out of this so I can demonstrate to y'all. Okay, two things to point out about this find here. Get a good little look around it. First point, you tell something's been bedding down in it. It's been deer using this little natural shelter to bed down in. Second point, it is a natural shelter. We've got the half makings of a debris shelter right here, naturally already done. One thing you always want to concentrate on when you're in a survival experience is obviously conserving energy and calories. You have something like this, you got the framework already laid out. You got vines, some grasses already holding it together, giving you almost a shell. A little bit more wood and debris on top, pile it high with debris. You got yourself a waterproof shelter already made. Thanks to the deer for working it out. Back to the first point, you know a deer's been bedding in here, so you know the deer are safe in this area. You know they like to come here and bed down. So now you know you have a meat source available to you if you have the means to take down a deer. So, natural shelter made for you by a deer. Okay, water and waterways are great find to any survivor, in my book, for 5 reasons. First off, it's a water source, without a doubt. Second off, it's a food source. No matter what time of the season, you'll be able to find food. Third, if you are lost, it'll usually lead you to civilization, without a doubt. Even small waterways will run to bigger waterways, which might run to bigger waterways. Somewhere along that water, there's going to be civilization. 4, there's plenty of debris. All over the world, the water's polluted. Along the oceans, even on deserted islands, you're going to find trash. Waterways are humans' natural trash can. So you'll find a plethora of useful items to a survivor in the waterways. The 5th reason is you can let the water do a little detective work for you. Say you're in obviously this is a little stream, I'm close to civilization, so this don't count. But say you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't know which way civilization is. But you come across a large moving body of water, like a river or a large creek. Study the area, look around, look for the trash that you find. If you find no debris at all, no trash, and you know your upriver is an area where there's mountains or uninhabited land, there probably is no civilization up that way. There's no trash flowing down. If there's civilization up the river, they're more than likely to be trash along the shore bank of where you are or flowing down the river. If you walk up to a river and you're lost, you don't know which way civilization is, and there's a ton of trash along those shore banks floating down the river or whatnot, that is almost 100% positive clue that upriver there's civilization. Unless someone's flying a plane up the river and dumping trash, there's a town, there's something upriver, and that would be the direction you would head. No trash, head downstream. Lots of trash, head upstream. Let the river be your detective and help you find your way out if you don't know what direction to go. Another thing you'll want to do too is also examine the trash you do find, if you do find any. If you're on a river, like I said, there's no trash, probably upstream there's no civilization. But say you find seldom few items of trash. Well, it's the year 2010. I'll find some bottle or some can that's from 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago, or a piece of trash that you obviously know is from the 1920s, something like that. And possibility is that that trash is from an explorer or a hunter or something that passed by that area or upriver that just blew down. So you got to use your own judgment if you are going to go upriver, and hope that that trash wasn't just something left there by another wanderer 80 years ago, or if you want to head downstream where there's probably civilization. Now, if you find some Pepsi bottle or Pepsi can that's from the label of last year, current, then move upstream. Your better shot is to move upstream. So, once again, let the river be your detective. Let it be your map. You can find subtle clues just by looking around about where you need to go. And if you're in an area that you don't know anything about, running into stuff like this, then gives you a little proof that there's some large meat running around. So always looking for bones. It gives you a big telltale sign about what you'll find in the area. And if you find one bone, usually you find many. It's definitely a tool right there. It can be fashioned into a tool of some sort. So I'm going to dig around this area, see what else I can find. Alright, so gathered up all the bones I could find. This is all I could find. I could tell by the condition the bones are in that it's been sitting here for a while. So, and a few of the bones I found pretty far away from where I found the skull. So this deer carcass has been picked on and pulled apart and spread all over the place. But still, nonetheless, still got myself a good couple of uses. Some tools. Got some tool handles. Plenty of things I can make out of that. Even the skull itself, if I needed to. I can crack away the mouth and use the top of the skull as a bowl to cook food, heat up water, or whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and gather these up and we'll get back out on the trail. It's old owl pellets. All the half-digested and half-deteriorated bones. As you know, owls regurgitate in a wad whatever they ate, all the bones and hair. This one's been here a while. Most of it's all decayed, all the stomach acids and stuff. But gives you a sign that there's definitely owls in here. If there's predator birds and predators hanging around, then you know there's a bunch of prey hanging around. He's out here eating. That means you can be out here eating. Okay, over here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got this natural divot, a hole in the ground. What could have either just been a natural sinkhole in the ground, or it could have once been a huge tree that fell out, its roots uprooted. Whatever the case may be, we have a natural hole in the ground here. See him standing in it. Maybe a good almost 2.5, 3 feet deep, dead in the center. Now let's talk about two things. The first one being water procurement. Alright. In the rain, obviously it's going to build up, and heavy rain is going to build up water in here. A good decent amount will probably puddle. Then again, most of it might sink into the ground also. One thing you could do if you have tarps, ponchos, plastic, anything, is lay it down on the bottom here, spread it out all over the floor like you're laying on a rug, and when you do get a heavy rain, or even a light rain, you'll build up a pool of fresh, drinkable, clean water. Now let's talk about my second point, which is cold weather survival. In cold weather, the ground is going to insulate you very well from the air, especially if there's snow, cold weather, frozen weather. You could take this pile, or this hole, I'm sorry, fill it with pine needles. Then over the hole, lay as much deadfall. As you see, I got tons and tons of deadfall. Plenty of trees. If I wanted to, I could find all the deadfall I wanted to, or even cut down trees, and lay it over the top of this hole like a roof. And then I just made myself a little underground dwelling. Which if it snows, that snow is going to cover the top of it, which would be even better. Because now you have that big, huge air insulator, natural insulator, called snow, covering the whole top of this, keeping the cold air out, and keeping the warm air inside the shelter. It's just a little food for thought. If you're ever in a survival situation, or survival experience, in cold weather, and you need a place to make a shelter quickly to get out of a storm if you know snow's coming. Obviously, if it was wet weather kind of conditions, you wouldn't want to be in here. But this will strictly be for a frozen snow type of situation. This will be a great place to build a shelter without doing a lot of work. You see snow shelters all the time, underground shelters for making snow. It takes a lot of work. Here you can drag a bunch of deadfall over, throw some leaves and stuff on top of it to seal it in, climb on inside on a bed full of pine needles or a bed full of coals, and when that snow falls, it'll just further insulate your shelter to make it even warmer. So two uses from a natural hole in the ground: extreme cold weather shelter and water procurement. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. A lot of people forget to look up in a survival experience or when they're out hunting and gathering. It's a 360-degree total sphere when it comes to finding and gathering tools. So bird's nest, obviously the perfect tinder bundle. Nature's perfect fire bundle. Already pre-made, ready to go. Dried out, perfectly shaped, ready to start a fire. Now this little guy added a couple little bits of plastic in there, but they're right on the outside, easy enough to pull out. So you see a bird nest, even if you don't need to start a fire, or if you already have a fire, start it. As long as it ain't occupied, go ahead and take it, collect it. Even if it is occupied, if it has eggs in it, you now find yourself a meal.